Hi guys, this is PP Reporter and welcome to my channel. Today we got some insane Forest Cup clutch matches here for you guys. I would like to give a shout out and thank you to PvP HQ India who helped with some of these videos, and what you'll see here are some really insane presence of mind which these trainers have, which actually helped them clutch those matches in the last moment. So how about we directly dive into our first video. So for our first match, we have Arun Drag versus Omash. Now he leads with a Sunny Cherrim against a Meganium. It's a positive matchup because these weather balls are super effective, although it won't KO a Meganium directly, however it will deal a huge chunk of damage. Meganium having to shield throws a Frenzy Plant, won't be all that effective, swaps into a Blaziken. Now Blaziken is met by Mantine on the other side. Unless this is a Stone Edge, it's a Blast Burn. So Blast Burn, despite being resisted, still hits like a truck. Goes for that Bubble Beam. It will be super effective and will effectively take out that Blaziken. In response, we have Kingdra. Okay, this is where Mantine really comes into clutch. These bubbles will reduce the attack stat of that Kingdra, making it much easier for the following Pokemon. Sunny Cherrim has to shield across over here, probably going for that Solar Beam, and you see a swap coming in, throws that Weather Ball against Meganium. This should deal super effective damage. Has enough for another one, but swaps into Blaziken brilliantly across there, and he had enough charge energy for that Solar Beam as well. These Frenzy Plants won't do too much of damage and surviving barely. Going against Kingdra, throws that Blast Burn, which will do a lot of damage. Decides to shield and then brings in that Cherrim for that Solar Beam KO. Oh shit, I'm sure his opponent never expected that. Very nice play. Now for our second match, we have Super Saiyan Joy versus Shrinjay. You see a Ferrothorn meet with a Ferrothorn lead. Now this Ferrothorn carries a Flash Cannon, so it would be a neutral matchup. He is able to get into his charge move before the opponent, so this is a positive thing, probably meaning it has a higher attack stat and won the CMP tie. But we see that the second charge move is thrown by the opponent quicker, so the opponent may have been overcharging in the first round. Now he will have to shield this other Flash Cannon if it is to survive. Decides to shield its Power Whip and swaps out into a Blaziken. Very nice move, is able to save his own Ferrothorn for future, but meets with that Mantine. Goes for that Stone Edge. This should KO it, but the opponent decides to shield. So a very good shield from the opponent here, and a Bubble Beam should be enough to take out this Blaziken. Out comes Ferrothorn with that Power Whip. Mantine decides to tank it and just wing attack this Ferrothorn down. So Mantine is carrying a lot of charge energy here right now. Now Crustle is not a common Pokemon out there, however it has its merits. Out comes Sunny Castform on the other end, so this Crustle is probably running a rock type fast move and is thus dealing a lot of damage to that Sunny Castform. Goes for that X-Scissor, is able to take it out despite being not very effective, barely any HP left, and is able to take down that Mantine. So that Crustle really coming into a clutch over there. Now for our third match, we have Anup J247 against Asif 7 Ali. You see a Jumpluff lead into a Kingdra. Now this is a match which Jumpluff can win with the right shielding, because the grass typing helps deal neutral damage, because Kingdra's dragon typing resists grass, however water is super effective, ends up dealing neutral damage. Now it is able to reach these energy balls quite fast, and Kingdra decides to shield and it wants to save this one. So Jumpluff returns and mirrors the shield, should be able to get to a second energy ball, and Kingdra will have to shield this, or yes, so it decides to invest both its shield so as to maintain lead advantage. Out comes Tonguefish. It should have enough energy for an Octazooka. This Octazooka should deal super effective but is shielded. Mud Bomb from Tonguefish should be enough to take out this particular Kingdra. Out comes Ferrothorn and Blaziken comes in, sees a swap out to Mantine, and there is no shield. That Stone Edge is going to do a world of damage. Almost takes out Mantine. Mantine barely just managing to throw its charge move of Bubble Beam. Will deal a decent amount of damage, and out comes Marathon. This does not look good for the opponent, but that Power Whip is enough to take it out. And Stunfish comes in with Mud Bomb, but Ferrothorn's one Grass Knot, it would do a chunk of damage, I believe something like 60%. Yeah, so it's barely just 5% health left, and goes for that Mud Bomb and just barely taking it out. So very close match. Our fourth match is between Nimbus and Siddhant. Now here we see Wormadam. Wormadam is a wild card sort of a Pokemon in this particular meta. Meeting Kingdra, you can see that the confusion is matching the Dragon Breath damage. The Octazooka will deal a reasonable 15-20% damage and go straight for that Iron Head. However, Iron Head is not very effective against Kingdra. You can see that Wormadam sort of has the slight bit advantage in terms of damage, decides not to shield, lets go of that switch advantage, brings in that Ferrothorn to farm down that Kingdra. Out comes Blaziken, swaps into Mantine. Now this Blaziken stayed in, so high chance that this might be a Stone Edge. So good call on that shield, and you see a swap out into a Ferrothorn. He decides to overfarm and goes straight for that Aerial Aces. Aerial Ace is not a very good move. It doesn't deal a lot of damage, but its effectiveness really comes into play. Now this Mantine does not run a Bubble Beam, so it's quite a unique moveset on this particular Mantine. And we see a swap out come in just in time. Ferrothorn going for that Flash Cannon to take it out or eat that shield. The other Ferrothorn has farmed extra energy, so this doesn't look very good. Goes for that Grass Knot. The opponent invests its second shield, farms down with that Blaziken. Out comes Mantine, decides to shield, and this is another Stone Edge, and he decides to farm down this Blaziken with barely any HP left and throws that Ice Beam against that Ferrothorn. Insane. That was an insane play. Each of these matches seem to get more and more interesting. We have this time Aethel versus Amish. Now Aethel seems to be expecting a swap out, and he's probably running a bug type fast move on his Crustle, and you can see it doing a chunk of damage against that Sunny Cherrim. Now goes for that Bug Burst. Both of these are super effective. I'm surprised to see that it is actually able to reach those charge moves much quicker than the Weather Ball on Cherrim. And thanks to its rock typing, it deals only neutral damage. Decides to let go of that Crustle. Out comes Blaziken. These Weather Balls won't be doing too much of a damage to Blaziken, and farms it down. In response, you should be seeing a Mantine come out. Yeah, so Mantine's wing attack dealing quite a bit of damage. Goes for Brave Bird, and it deals a huge chunk of damage on Mantine. That was unexpected. So first time me seeing a Blaziken run that moveset, and you see a swap out to Kingdra come in. Outrage will be dealing quite a bit of damage on that Torterra, and Dragon Breath being able to farm it down. Out comes Mantine, and this is... And luckily he has a shield to defend against Mantine's bubble, and is able to get into that Blaze Kick. Nice. And barely just able to take down that Mantine. So that was a good play on both their parts. Unique movesets we could see there. These are such close matches, guys. I mean, insane. We actually have Nimbus and Siddhant again for another match. You see a Mantine lead into a Blaziken. Now this is a positive matchup for Mantine as long as it avoids that Stone Edge. That threat looms always on the horizon. So you see a swap out come into a Kingdra, and he's able to bring in his Wormadam. Now Wormadam is able to KO Kingdra on the right shielding scenarios. Goes for that Iron Head because none of his charge moves are really all that effective against Kingdra. And Will he shield? No, he decides not to shield. He decides to save his shield across and responds to Kingdra with his Mantine. So this Mantine is now charged up and loaded with a lot of energy, meets that Ferrothorn. Now in the back he has a Stunfish, so this doesn't look all that good for him. He has to take out this particular Ferrothorn. So goes back to back for that Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace, despite dealing neutral damage, is not a very hard hitting move. He's able to get to another Aerial Ace, and this should bring down okay, so the opponent also decides to shield, swaps out into that Blaziken. Out comes Stunfish, and this Stone Edge is not going to do a lot of damage. A Blaze Kick would have been probably more preferred. It farms down this Blaziken. Out comes Ferrothorn, and it's not able to throw its charge move. And with barely any health remaining, it is able to throw that Aerial Ace and take out that Ferrothorn. So very well played and good presence of mind there. You know guys, it feels as if each and every match is getting more and more intense. We have another match between Apratim versus Josh V009. You see a mirror match of Stunfish versus Stunfish. Now ironically, the Mud Bomb is going to deal super effective damage against this thanks to the Thunder typing, which is double weak to ground type. And then you see a swap out into a Ferrothorn met by Ferrothorn. So this seems like a mirror on mirror match. The opponent is running Thunder, so this doesn't look good because a Flash Cannon Ferrothorn can out damage a Thunder Ferrothorn. So interesting moveset the opponent is running. It will be able to get to these Thunder before this Ferrothorn, and it will have to shield if it wants to survive this. So it decides to shield, and you see a swap in come in with the Blaziken, and you see a counter swap in with a Stunfish, and that Blaze Kick would have KO'd it. So good job shielding it across. Will the opponent decide to shield the Mud Bomb? Yes, it decides to shield the Mud Bomb and keep its Blaziken in. Farms down that Stunfish. Out comes Kingdra. This could be a Stone Edge, and it is a Stone Edge, so a good call to shield that, because Stone Edge would have dealt a lot of damage, but that counter also bringing it down to 60% health. The opponent counting down the clock brings in that Ferrothorn, and you see an insane swap into a Stunfish from the opponent, and that Mud Bomb will take out this Ferrothorn. Very nice play. This doesn't look very good for Apratim. And its discharge should deal a chunk of damage. Barely any health left. He decides to go for the farm down and throws an Outrage against that Ferrothorn. Insane. I'm sure his opponent wasn't expecting that. Very well played there. Okay guys, so we are into our last video for the day. We have Anup J247 against Aryan XT. You see a Jumpluff lead into Mantine. Now this might not be very good for Jumpluff, because if that Mantine is carrying an Ice Beam, it will wreck the Jumpluff down to 1-2 health. So luckily it's an Aerial Ace. Despite being super effective, Jumpluff is able to tank that. You see a swap out coming in into a Stunfish, and the opponent brings in a Ferrothorn. Now these Mud Bombs will deal neutral damage and can chunk away at Ferrothorn's health little by little. But the Stunfish will have to shield against those power waves, because it will deal something like a 60% damage on these Stunfish. So you see him shielding, going for those Mud Bombs back to back, slowly chipping down on this Ferrothorn. And this Power Whip not being enough to take it out, that Stunfish still having 10 health left. You see a Blaziken come in, and on the other side you see Swampert. This doesn't look good for Anu. And the Swampert decides to shield that Stone Edge. Takes out that Blaziken. Out comes Jumpluff. Now this Hydro Cannon will be resisted by Jumpluff, and it is able to tank it. So I think he's going in for a farm down. Alright. So that Hydro Cannon from Swampert being shielded across. Out comes Ferrothorn, but its charge move is already ready. However, Power Whip will be resisted thanks to the flying typing on Jumpluff. Goes for that Aerial Ace. He is able to take it out and go straight for that Power Whip against Mantine. Does a chunk load of damage. Oh, and immediately swaps into that stung-fish and throws that mud bomb, and it will be enough to take it out. And out comes another Swampert in the back. My god, that was like a backup plan on a backup plan. So those were some insane crazy matches. So let me know if you found these insane plays and matches to be interesting. Did you enjoy the video? Please like, comment and subscribe. Let me know you're enjoying the content across here, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.